You think you're unusual, but what if I told you millions of men are quietly asking the exact same questions you are? Not about desire, not about performance, about normal. What do other people actually do in their private lives? Are my preferences okay? Did age change me, or did something go wrong? I'm Dr. Nerita, and after 12 years in men's health, I can tell you this. The biggest problem men face isn't lack of masculinity, it's silent worry. Today, we're going to replace guesswork with real science, real data, and real reassurance. No judgment, no pressure, just honest medical conversation. And by the end of this video, you'll realize something incredibly important. You were never as different as you thought. You like intimacy. We all do. But here's the real question most men never say out loud. What kind of intimate activities are Americans actually into? And what does that mean for me? I'm Dr. Nerita, and I want to start this conversation the way I do in my office. Calm, honest, and judgment-free. I've spent 12 years working in men's health and intimate wellness, and I can tell you this with absolute confidence. The biggest struggle men face isn't lack of desire. It's confusion, quiet fear, and unnecessary shame. Before we go any further, do me a quick favor. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. I love seeing how global this community really is. And while you're there, tap like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because this channel is about real conversations that protect your health, your dignity, and your confidence. Now, a quick myth we need to break immediately. There is no single normal way to express intimacy. Not at 25, not at 55, not at 75. Yet, men come into my clinic every week asking, is it weird that I like this? Is something wrong with me because I don't like that? Am I broken because my desires changed with age? And I look them in the eye and say, you're human. The study we're talking about today, one of the largest nationally representative surveys ever done on intimacy, surveyed over 2,000 American adults across age groups, backgrounds, and life stages. It wasn't designed to shock. It was designed to tell the truth. And the truth is this: you are far less unusual than you think. This data doesn't exist to pressure you into trying anything. It exists to remove fear, normalize curiosity, and give men relief. The relief of knowing I'm not alone. We're going to walk through the top 10 intimate activities Americans report engaging in, from the most common to the most surprising. But I won't just list them. For each one, I'll explain what's happening biologically in the brain and body, what it means emotionally, confidence, connection, dignity, what it looks like practically in real life, especially as men age. No explicit content, no performance pressure, just clear, respectful education, the way medicine should be discussed. And yes, number 9 and number 10 surprised almost everyone. Let's begin. Number 1, traditional intercourse. No shocker here. Around 90% of men and women report this as part of their intimate lives when in a relationship. Biologically, it's the most familiar pathway for arousal and bonding. The body releases oxytocin, the connection hormone, which strengthens trust and emotional safety. Emotionally, it often represents closeness, reassurance, and being desired, especially important for men who tie intimacy to identity. Practically, here's the reminder I give couples. Familiar doesn't mean boring. Small changes, communication, patience, shared focus matter more than novelty. Number 2, self-pleasure. This one still makes grown men whisper. Over 80% of Americans across ages report engaging in it. And biologically, moderate self-stimulation supports circulation, helps maintain nerve sensitivity, can support prostate health. Emotionally, it reduces stress and helps men stay connected to their bodies, especially during periods of illness, loss, or relationship change. Practically, the key word is balance. If it replaces connection or causes distress, it's worth addressing. Otherwise, it's a normal part of self-care, not a moral failure. Number 3, oral intimacy. More than 80% of Americans report giving or receiving oral intimacy at some point. Biologically, this works because different nerve pathways are activated, often leading to stronger responses for many partners. Emotionally, it's frequently associated with generosity and trust. Practically, my doctor hat comes on here. Protection still matters. Education keeps pleasure safe. Now, this is where things start to get interesting because the next category isn't about touch at all. It's about the brain. Number 4, watching adult content. About 82% of men and 60% of women report viewing adult material at some point. Biologically, visual stimulation activates dopamine, the same chemical involved in motivation and reward. But here's the doctor's truth. Overuse can dull sensitivity over time. Emotionally, unrealistic comparisons can quietly erode confidence, especially for older men. Practically, moderation matters. Adult content is not education, and it shouldn't replace real connection. Number 5, special clothing or lingerie. This surprises many men. Roughly 75% of women and 25% of men report intentionally wearing something special for a partner. Why does it work? Biologically, anticipation increases dopamine before touch ever happens. Emotionally, it signals you're worth the effort. Practically, this is one of the simplest ways long-term couples keep intimacy alive without changing who they are. Number 6, sharing suggestive messages or photos. About half of Americans admit to sending or receiving intimate messages. Biologically, anticipation creates arousal even in absence. Emotionally, it can feel exciting but also vulnerable. Practically, this is where caution matters. Digital choices last longer than emotions. Thoughtfulness protects dignity. So far, nothing extreme. But now we cross the line where routine ends and curiosity begins. Number 7, erotic stories or fantasy reading. Over 57% of Americans report engaging with written fantasy. Biologically, the brain often responds more powerfully to imagination than visuals. Emotionally, this allows exploration without pressure or risk. Practically, many couples use this as a conversation starter, learning what excites each other safely. Number 8, intimacy in adventurous locations. Roughly 43% report intimate moments outside the usual settings. Biologically, adrenaline intensifies arousal. Emotionally, novelty can reignite long-term desire. Practically, risks exist. Legal and emotional awareness matters. Now we arrive at the 2 that make people lean forward. Number 9, anal intimacy. Yes, this surprises people. Studies show over 40% of men and around 30% of women report engaging at some point. Biologically, the area contains sensitive nerve endings. For men, prostate proximity plays a role. Emotionally, stigma, not the activity itself, is what creates anxiety. Practically, communication, preparation, and consent are non-negotiable. This is about trust, not pressure. Number 10, playful impact, spanking. About 30% of Americans report this in a consensual, playful context. Biologically, sensation and pleasure activate overlapping brain pathways, releasing endorphins. Emotionally, this can feel playful, connecting, or trust-based when boundaries are clear. Practically, safety and consent define everything. This isn't about pain. It's about communication. Let me bring this home as a doctor and as a human. You don't need to try everything on this list. You don't need to compare yourself to it. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone. Here's the real practical plan. Talk openly. Curiosity builds connection. Protect your health physically and emotionally. Move slowly. Novelty should feel safe, not rushed. And hear this clearly. Age does not close the door on intimacy. In many men, it deepens it. Some of the most fulfilled couples I see are not the youngest. They're the ones who stayed curious, communicative, and kind to themselves. If this video gave you reassurance, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear they're normal. I'm Dr. Nerita, and after 12 years in men's health, I want you to remember this. Small changes restore confidence. Honest conversations protect dignity. And vitality doesn't disappear with age. It evolves. So remember this. You don't need to match statistics. You don't need to copy anyone else. And you definitely don't need to feel ashamed of being human. Healthy intimacy isn't about performance. It's about comfort, communication, and trust. As men age, desire doesn't disappear, it matures. Confidence doesn't come from comparison, it comes from understanding. If this video gave you peace of mind, share it with someone who might be silently worrying the same way you once did. I'm Dr. Nerita, and my goal is simply protect your health, protect your confidence, and protect your dignity. I'll see you in the next video.